Your soulmate is trying to tell you something important. Please don't ignore this, don't skip. Listen carefully. This message is for you, because there are moments in life that don't arrive with loud announcements. They don't begin with dramatic music or unforgettable headlines. Instead, they quietly unfold in the background, waiting for someone to slow down long enough to notice them. Your soulmate has reached one of those moments. Not because everything in their life suddenly became perfect. Not because every question finally had an answer. But because their heart has been carrying something for a long time, and keeping it inside has become harder than expressing it. And listen to this. For days, perhaps even weeks, they found themselves thinking about the same thing over and over again. It happened while walking through familiar streets. While enjoying a quiet cup of coffee. While listening to music that unexpectedly reminded them of meaningful memories. While watching sunsets that seemed to slow time itself. The same feeling kept returning. The same message quietly echoed inside them. At first, they ignored it. They believed it would fade. They told themselves it was only another passing thought. But it didn't disappear. Instead, it grew stronger. Because your heart needs this right now, because the thoughts that truly matter often return until we finally pay attention to them. Your soulmate could no longer ignore it. And listen to this. One ordinary morning began like countless others. The alarm rang. The day started. Responsibilities waited. Messages arrived. People hurried through their routines. Everything appeared completely normal. Yet inside, something felt different. There was a quiet stillness they hadn't noticed before. Almost as though their heart had decided it was finally time to speak. Because your heart needs this right now, because life's deepest realizations often begin in ordinary moments. Your soulmate was experiencing one. And listen to this. Throughout the day, they became unusually observant. They noticed little things that had always been there. The kindness of strangers. The warmth of a genuine smile. The comfort of familiar places. The beauty of simple conversations. It made them realize how often people overlook the things that quietly give life its meaning. That thought stayed with them. Because your heart needs this right now, because appreciation begins when we truly notice what's already around us. Your soulmate's awareness was growing. And listen to this. As afternoon turned into evening, they found themselves reflecting on meaningful relationships. Not perfect relationships. Not relationships without challenges. Meaningful ones. The kind built through trust. Patience. Understanding. Shared laughter. Honest conversations. Moments where silence itself felt comfortable. They realized those moments had shaped them more than they ever admitted. Because your heart needs this right now, because genuine connection is built through countless small moments rather than one grand gesture. Your soulmate finally understood that. And listen to this. For a long time, they believed they needed perfect words before expressing important feelings. They rehearsed conversations in their mind. They imagined different outcomes. They searched for flawless timing. Every attempt ended with the same conclusion. Maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow became another tomorrow. Weeks quietly passed. Yet the message remained. Because your heart needs this right now, because waiting for perfection often delays the words our hearts need most. Your soulmate realized they couldn't keep waiting forever. And listen to this. One quiet evening, they sat alone beneath a sky filled with stars. The world around them felt peaceful. The breeze moved gently through the trees. The sounds of the day slowly disappeared. For the first time in a long while, there were no distractions. Only honest thoughts. Only quiet reflection. Only the truth. Because your heart needs this right now, because silence often helps us hear what our hearts have been trying to say. Your soulmate finally listened. And listen to this. A simple question appeared in their mind. If I never found the perfect moment, would I regret staying silent? The question lingered. It wasn't comfortable. But it was honest. The answer came quietly. Yes. They would. Not because they feared rejection. Not because they wanted certainty. Because some things deserve to be spoken before time quietly carries another day away. That realization changed everything. Because your heart needs this right now, because some of life's greatest regrets come from the words we never say. Your soulmate refused to let this become one of them. And listen to this. As memories returned, they remembered every conversation that had ever made them feel truly understood. Every kind word that arrived at exactly the right time. Every person who chose compassion instead of judgment. Every moment that quietly restored hope. Those memories reminded them of something beautiful. People rarely remember every detail of what was said. But they remember how someone made them feel. That truth settled deeply into their heart. Because your heart needs this right now, because kindness creates memories that often outlive the conversations themselves. Your soulmate treasured those memories. And listen to this. Another realization slowly unfolded. The important message they wanted to share wasn't about perfection. It wasn't about expecting anything in return. It wasn't about changing someone's life overnight. It was about honesty. The courage to say what truly matters. The courage to appreciate meaningful people while they're still present. The courage to choose openness over endless hesitation. Because your heart needs this right now, because honesty is one of the greatest gifts we can offer another person. Your soulmate wanted to give that gift. And listen to this. As the night grew quieter, they opened a notebook and began writing. Not long speeches. Not dramatic declarations. Just simple reminders. Speak with kindness. Listen with patience. Appreciate people while you can. Don't assume they already know. Let gratitude be spoken, not hidden. Reading those words back, they smiled. Not because everything had suddenly become easy, but because their heart finally felt aligned with their actions. Because your heart needs this right now, because peace often begins when we stop hiding what matters most. Your soulmate felt that peace for the first time in a long while. And listen to this. Before turning off the light, one final thought quietly settled into their heart. A thought they knew they would carry into every tomorrow. The most important conversations rarely begin with perfect words. They begin with an honest heart willing to be heard. Those words stayed with them. Not as a prediction. Not as a promise. But as a reminder that meaningful relationships grow stronger through sincerity, compassion, and open communication. Because your heart needs this right now, because every meaningful connection becomes stronger when honesty is chosen over silence. Your soulmate finally understood that truth. They closed their eyes with a quiet smile. The message they had been carrying no longer felt heavy. It finally felt ready. Don't skip. Listen carefully. This message is for you, because after carrying those unspoken thoughts for so long, your soulmate reached a point where silence no longer felt comfortable. Not because they suddenly had every answer. Not because life had become simple. But because some feelings become stronger the longer they remain unspoken. And listen to this. The morning after their quiet realization felt different. The world looked exactly the same. The same streets. The same routine. The same responsibilities waiting to be completed. Yet inside their heart, everything felt lighter. Not because uncertainty had disappeared. Because they had finally accepted one important truth. Some conversations are worth having even when they aren't perfect. Because your heart needs this right now, because honesty often begins where perfection ends. Your soulmate quietly accepted that lesson. And listen to this. Throughout the day, they found themselves paying closer attention to the people around them. They noticed smiles they would normally overlook. They noticed acts of kindness happening without recognition. Someone holding a door open. Someone helping another person without expecting thanks. Someone listening patiently while another person spoke. Those ordinary moments reminded them that genuine care is often expressed through quiet actions rather than dramatic words. Because your heart needs this right now, because the greatest expressions of love and compassion are often found in everyday moments. Your soulmate couldn't stop thinking about that. And listen to this. As the afternoon passed, another realization gently entered their heart. For too long, they had believed meaningful relationships depended on saying exactly the right thing. They worried about choosing the perfect words. The perfect timing. The perfect setting. But life had been teaching them something different all along. People rarely expect perfection. They appreciate sincerity. Because your heart needs this right now, because authenticity creates deeper connections than flawless words ever could. Your soulmate finally believed that. And listen to this. They remembered conversations from years ago. Not because every sentence had been unforgettable, but because of how those conversations made them feel. Someone once encouraged them during a difficult season. Someone once believed in them when they doubted themselves. Someone once reminded them they weren't alone. Those moments stayed with them far longer than the exact words themselves. Because your heart needs this right now, because kindness is remembered long after conversations fade. Your soulmate treasured those memories. And listen to this. As evening approached, they decided to slow down. No rushing. No distractions. No constant checking of the time. Instead, they sat quietly with their thoughts. The silence felt different now. Not empty. Comfortable. Almost peaceful. For the first time in a long while, they weren't trying to avoid what their heart wanted to say. They were listening. Because your heart needs this right now, because clarity often appears when we stop running from our own thoughts. Your soulmate welcomed that clarity. And listen to this. A question quietly appeared. What is the message I've really been trying to express? At first, many answers came to mind. Gratitude. Hope. Respect. Appreciation. But eventually, they realized all of those ideas pointed toward one simple truth. The people who matter deserve to know they matter. Not someday. Not eventually. Today. That realization stayed with them. Because your heart needs this right now, because appreciation becomes most meaningful when it is shared while the opportunity still exists. Your soulmate understood that deeply. And listen to this. They thought about how quickly time passes. Ordinary days become memories. Conversations become stories. People grow and change. Life keeps moving forward whether we're ready or not. That realization didn't make them fearful. It made them grateful. Grateful for every meaningful connection. Every shared laugh. Every quiet moment of understanding. Because your heart needs this right now, because gratitude grows when we recognize how precious ordinary moments truly are. Your soulmate felt that gratitude growing. And listen to this. As night fell, they opened their journal once again. This time they didn't write long paragraphs. They wrote simple reminders they hoped would guide them every day. Speak honestly. Listen completely. Appreciate openly. Forgive quickly. Never assume tomorrow will offer another chance to say something kind. Reading those words filled them with unexpected peace. Because they no longer felt trapped between fear and silence. They felt ready. Because your heart needs this right now, because peace often begins when our actions reflect our deepest values. Your soulmate experienced that peace. And listen to this. Before going to sleep, one final realization quietly settled into their heart. A realization so simple that it changed everything. The most important message isn't hidden inside extraordinary words. It's found in ordinary honesty shared with genuine love and respect. Those words stayed with them. Not as a prediction. Not as a promise of what someone else would do. But as a reminder of the kind of person they wanted to become. Someone who speaks with kindness. Someone who listens with patience. Someone who never leaves gratitude unspoken. Because your heart needs this right now, because meaningful relationships are strengthened by honesty, compassion, and sincere communication. Your soulmate carried that lesson into tomorrow with a peaceful heart. And this was only the beginning. Don't skip. Listen carefully. This message is for you, because after spending so much time reflecting on everything their heart had been trying to say, your soulmate finally reached a moment they could no longer ignore. It wasn't a dramatic revelation. It wasn't a sudden miracle. It wasn't a life-changing announcement from someone else. It was a quiet truth that had been patiently waiting inside them all along. And once they recognized it, nothing felt quite the same again. And listen to this. The morning arrived gently. Sunlight slowly filled the room. The familiar sounds of another ordinary day began outside the window. Everything looked exactly as it had the day before. Yet inside, something had shifted. Their thoughts felt calmer. Their breathing felt lighter. The weight they had been carrying for so long no longer seemed impossible to hold. Not because every uncertainty had disappeared, but because they had stopped running from what their heart wanted them to understand. Because your heart needs this right now, because real peace often begins when we stop resisting the truths we've quietly known all along. Your soulmate was finally at peace with themselves. And listen to this. As they went through the day, they noticed how often people hurried past meaningful moments. Everyone seemed busy, focused on tomorrow, thinking about deadlines, planning the future, worrying about things they couldn't control. For a moment, they realized they had lived the same way. Always believing happiness was waiting somewhere ahead. Always believing the next achievement would finally bring lasting peace. But now, something inside them gently whispered, maybe peace has been here all along. That thought stayed with them. Because your heart needs this right now, because sometimes the life we're searching for quietly exists inside the moments we're rushing past. Your soulmate smiled at that realization. And listen to this. Later that afternoon, they sat beneath the shade of a quiet tree in a nearby park. Children laughed in the distance. Birds sang from the branches overhead. The wind carried the scent of fresh rain through the air. Nothing extraordinary happened. No mysterious signs appeared. No dramatic events unfolded. Yet they felt deeply grateful simply to be present. To notice. To breathe. To appreciate. Because your heart needs this right now, because gratitude often grows strongest during life's simplest moments. Your soulmate finally understood why. And listen to this. As they watched people passing by, another realization quietly entered their heart. Every person they saw was carrying something invisible. Private dreams. Hidden fears. Unspoken hopes. Silent struggles. Nobody walking past looked exactly the same on the inside as they appeared on the outside. That thought filled them with compassion. It reminded them to be gentler. More patient. More understanding. Because your heart needs this right now, because remembering that everyone carries unseen burdens helps us choose kindness more often. Your soulmate wanted to become that kind of person. And listen to this. They remembered conversations from years ago. Not because every detail remained clear, but because certain feelings never faded. Someone's encouragement. Someone's understanding. Someone's willingness to listen without judgment. Those memories had quietly shaped the person they were becoming. Without those people ever realizing it. That realization made their heart overflow with gratitude. Because your heart needs this right now, because we often underestimate how deeply simple kindness can influence another person's life. Your soulmate would never forget that lesson. And listen to this. As the afternoon slowly became evening, they asked themselves another important question. If I could leave one message behind for the people I care about, what would it be? They thought carefully. Many answers came to mind. But eventually everything became beautifully simple. Thank you. I appreciate you. Your kindness mattered more than you probably realize. You helped shape my life in ways I'll never fully be able to explain. Those words felt honest. Complete. Enough. Because your heart needs this right now, because appreciation doesn't have to be complicated to be deeply meaningful. Your soulmate believed that with all their heart. And listen to this. The evening sky slowly turned shades of orange and purple. The first stars appeared above. They remained outside just a little longer, allowing the quiet to settle around them. For the first time in many months, they weren't asking life for more answers. Instead, they were simply thankful for everything life had already taught them. Patience. Resilience. Forgiveness. Hope. Compassion. Every lesson had arrived exactly when it was needed. Even the difficult ones. Because your heart needs this right now, because the lessons we once resisted often become the wisdom we later depend upon. Your soulmate finally appreciated every chapter. And listen to this. That night they returned home and opened their notebook once again. Instead of writing goals. Instead of writing plans. Instead of writing worries. They wrote a promise. A promise they intended to carry for the rest of their life. I will never allow fear to silence kindness. I will never delay gratitude because I'm waiting for the perfect moment. I will speak honestly with compassion. I will listen before I judge. I will remember that every conversation is an opportunity to leave someone feeling valued. As they finished writing, something remarkable happened. They no longer felt as though they were searching for the right message. They had become the message. Because your heart needs this right now, because the most powerful lessons are the ones we begin living instead of merely speaking. Your soulmate quietly embraced that truth. And listen to this. They realized something else that completely changed their perspective. The important message they had been trying to share wasn't about predicting the future. It wasn't about knowing what tomorrow would bring. It wasn't about waiting for extraordinary circumstances. It was about choosing to live today with greater honesty, greater appreciation, and greater compassion than yesterday. That realization felt freeing. Because suddenly every ordinary day became an opportunity instead of an obligation. Every conversation became meaningful. Every act of kindness became worthwhile. Every moment became valuable. Because your heart needs this right now, because our lives are shaped more by the way we choose to live each ordinary day than by a handful of extraordinary moments. Your soulmate understood that completely. And listen to this. Before going to sleep, they stood beside the window one last time. The night was calm. The stars shone brightly overhead. The world seemed peaceful. Closing their eyes, they whispered one final thought to themselves. May I never become too busy to appreciate the people who make life meaningful. May I never become too distracted to notice simple kindness. May I always have the courage to say what truly matters while there's still time. Those quiet words settled gently into their heart. Not as a promise to anyone else, but as a commitment to the kind of person they wanted to become. Because your heart needs this right now, because lasting change begins with the promises we quietly make to ourselves. Your soulmate carried that promise forward. And listen to this. As sleep finally arrived, one final realization remained. A realization they knew they would never forget. The most important message isn't hidden inside mysterious signs or perfect timing. It's found in choosing honesty over silence, gratitude over assumption, and kindness over fear, every single day. That simple truth changed everything. Not because the world outside suddenly transformed, but because the world inside their heart finally had. And that became the beginning of a brand new chapter. Don't skip. Listen carefully. This message is for you, because after every quiet morning filled with reflection, after every evening spent wondering whether the right words would ever come, after every memory that gently returned without being invited, after every lesson that slowly reshaped their heart, your soulmate finally reached a place where silence no longer felt necessary. Not because every mystery had been solved. Not because life had suddenly become perfect. Not because every fear had disappeared. But because they finally understood what their heart had been trying to tell them all along. And listen to this. The message wasn't hidden inside dramatic events. It wasn't waiting inside a grand confession. It wasn't locked away inside one unforgettable moment. Instead, it had been quietly growing through countless ordinary days. Every conversation had added another piece. Every challenge had taught another lesson. Every act of kindness had quietly revealed another truth. Because your heart needs this right now, because the greatest wisdom is often built through many small experiences rather than one extraordinary event. Your soulmate finally saw the complete picture. And listen to this. That evening they stepped outside just before sunset. The sky was painted with soft shades of orange, pink, and gold. A gentle breeze moved through the trees. The world seemed calm. For the first time in a long while, they weren't thinking about unfinished tasks or tomorrow's worries. They simply stood there, appreciating the beauty of an ordinary evening. And suddenly they realized how many beautiful moments had quietly passed unnoticed while they had been rushing through life. Because your heart needs this right now, because slowing down allows us to notice the blessings that have been beside us all along. Your soulmate smiled with gratitude. And listen to this. As darkness slowly settled across the sky, they reflected on the people who had quietly shaped their journey. The friend who listened without judgment. The family member who encouraged them during difficult seasons. The stranger whose unexpected kindness restored their faith in people. The mentor who believed in them before they believed in themselves. Each person had left a small light inside their heart. None of them probably realized how meaningful their influence had become. Yet together, they had changed everything. Because your heart needs this right now, because small acts of kindness often create lifelong memories without anyone realizing it. Your soulmate carried those memories with deep appreciation. And listen to this. Another realization gently appeared. They had spent so much time searching for extraordinary signs that they almost missed the extraordinary beauty hidden inside ordinary life. Morning conversations. Shared laughter. Quiet walks. Simple smiles. Moments of understanding. These were the things that truly gave life meaning. Not fame. Not perfection. Not endless success. But genuine human connection. Because your heart needs this right now, because life's richest treasures are often the relationships and memories we build along the way. Your soulmate finally understood that. And listen to this. For a moment, they closed their eyes and imagined what they would say if they could leave only one message behind. After thinking carefully, the answer became beautifully simple. Be kind even when nobody is watching. Say thank you before it's too late. Tell people they matter while they're still beside you. Listen with your whole heart. Never let fear stop you from expressing genuine appreciation. Those words felt complete. They needed nothing more. Because your heart needs this right now, because the simplest truths often become the most powerful lessons. Your soulmate believed those words completely. And listen to this. Later that night, they opened their notebook one final time. This time they didn't write about dreams they hoped would happen. They didn't write about worries they couldn't control. Instead, they wrote about the person they wanted to become. Someone who chooses compassion before criticism. Someone who offers encouragement before judgment. Someone who values honesty over appearances. Someone who creates peace instead of unnecessary conflict. Someone who never forgets how deeply a few kind words can change another person's day. Reading those words brought tears to their eyes. Not tears of sadness. Tears of gratitude. Because for the first time in a long while, they realized they weren't chasing a perfect future anymore. They were simply becoming a better version of themselves, one ordinary day at a time. Because your heart needs this right now, because lasting transformation happens through consistent choices rather than dramatic moments. Your soulmate embraced that journey. And listen to this. As midnight approached, they looked out the window once more. The stars filled the sky. The world outside had become quiet. Inside their heart, something equally beautiful had happened. The questions that once filled their mind had become peaceful acceptance. The fears that once demanded attention had become quiet whispers. The uncertainty that once felt overwhelming had become trust. Not trust that tomorrow would be perfect. But trust that whatever tomorrow brought, kindness, patience, and honesty would always remain worthwhile. Because your heart needs this right now, because inner peace often comes from trusting our values more than our fears. Your soulmate finally found that peace. And listen to this. Before turning off the light, they whispered one final promise to themselves. I will never become too busy to appreciate the people who make life meaningful. I will never stop learning how to love with patience and kindness. I will never wait for perfect timing to express gratitude. I will never forget that every ordinary day offers another opportunity to make someone's heart a little lighter. Those promises didn't change the world overnight. But they changed the way your soulmate chose to live within it. And sometimes, that's where the greatest change begins. Because your heart needs this right now, because changing ourselves with compassion often creates positive ripples that reach far beyond what we can see. Your soulmate carried those promises into every new day. And listen to this. The important message they had been trying to share all along was never about predicting the future. It was never about mysterious signs or hidden secrets. It was something much more meaningful. A reminder that relationships become stronger through honest conversations. That gratitude becomes powerful when it is spoken aloud. That kindness is never wasted. That listening can be one of the greatest gifts we give another person. And that love, in its healthiest form, grows through everyday choices rather than extraordinary moments. Because your heart needs this right now, because the strongest connections are built one thoughtful conversation, one kind action, and one sincere moment at a time. Your soulmate understood that with all their heart. And listen to this. As sleep gently arrived, one final realization settled peacefully into their soul. A realization they knew they would carry for the rest of their life. The most important message isn't waiting for the perfect moment. It's choosing every day to live with gratitude, speak with honesty, listen with compassion, and remind the people around you that they are valued. That truth became the beginning